So I just decided to have a couple coaching calls here from down on my boat. The weather is going to change here dramatically soon. It's still summery-ish, nice. Weather's nice, but the first storm of the fall season's coming. I think eventually I'm gonna probably have to wrap up my boat and put it to storage, and that makes me rather sad. But anyways, the reason why I wanted to shoot this video is that like I said, I just had a couple coaching calls that, with some accounting firms that I work with, and we got into the topic of business modeling, and which I love. And so it comes down to this. It comes down to accountants taking back control of how they're building their practices, and what do you want the business model to look like. So driving your revenue model based on the number of clients you want to work with times the magical price will give you the revenue model, as opposed to most accounting firms. They always do the billable hour. Well, it's this many billable hours and we can make this much money. Garbage. I won't go into that too much, but what I want to talk about here is just modeling out based on the number of clients you want. And so sometimes when I talk about pricing, and there's a lot of other, shall we call it, gurus out there that are talking about pricing and how to make more money and how to price better and blah 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 blah, and they talk about these numbers that sometimes scare accountants away. Like, especially when I talk to accountants for the first time about the account success formula model, they're like, well, there's no way I can get a client for $12,000 a year. There's no way I can get a client for $10,000 a month, or there's no way I can, the numbers are too high. Use the methodologies that I teach for your specific situation. So what I want to do, and I just wrote this down on my iPad, and hopefully you'll be able to see this because I practiced this a little bit beforehand, and it might be a bit difficult to see, but I'll see if I can do this. There. So here's an example. If you wanted to get your firm to, say, $1.2 million in revenue, oh, there goes a boat. That's the joys of doing a video impromptu in a marina. Well, there's a little cute little kid there in the back of the boat. Look, she's got her life jacket and her dog, and her mom's taking her out. That's awesome. Anyways, so if you wanted to bring your practice to, say, 1.2 million in billings, and you charge $300, say, for a personal return, you have to do 4,000 clients to get to 1.2 million. Pretty puke-inducing, right? But then if you start adjusting the numbers up and you say, well, why don't I charge $3,000? I need 400 clients. What if I went to $6,000 a client? Then I'd only need, or $6,000 a client, I only need 200 clients. Or maybe it's 100 clients that I want at $12,000 a year to get to 1.2 million. Now, if that's the number, if 1.2 million is a revenue number that's just, you're like, there's no way I can make a rev 1.2, Eric, that's fine. Adjust it down to the number that you want. So for example, if you want 600,000 as your revenue model, then you start looking at it and saying, well, if you're doing tax returns for $300 a pop, you're gonna have to do 2,000 tax returns. Sorry, no thanks. But if you start cranking up the numbers, look, if you got up to, say, $12,000 per client, you'd need 50 clients to get to 600K. So think about that, 50 corporate clients. For most accountants, that would be like a dream come true. Say 50 corporate clients with 50 so maybe a couple per corporation. So you'd have like 100 tax returns. 600 grand as your revenue model. I mean, how many staff would you need to actually run that? Well, your overhead would be minimal. You could be making really good money and not having a lot of stress. Now, how do you get those higher numbers is what I teach in the Accountant Success Formula program. And it's also, I don't show a billable hour model. It's moving from billable hour to a subscription value-based model is what the Accountant Success Formula does. But regardless of that, if you're not interested in the Accountant Success Formula model and moving to a subscription-based model, then at least think about how many clients you want at what price point, because this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to build your business model, your revenue model. The number of clients times the price equals the revenue model, not the billable hour. Anyways, I could go down a rabbit hole there talking about that for hours. But look at the modeling. So ratchet, there's 1.2, there's 6, maybe 300 is your target. It doesn't matter. Just model it out and start controlling the clients that come in and create that new minimum price point so that you don't go below it, because that'll crush your model. So there you go. The Accountant Success Formula program is something that I developed that shows accounting firms how to update their business model from the traditional billable hour model to the value-priced subscription-based model. If you're interested in having a conversation about that, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. So stay tuned for more success tips to come.